Hi, everybody. It's Michael André Ford here in San Antonio, Texas, surrounded by two dogs and a new kitten. Hopefully, they're going to make the proper cameo. We're going to find out the good old-fashioned way through experience. So, speaking of experience, you're living your lives fantastically so, I hope. There's a little bit of thinking. There's a lot of fun. Love, I hope that's here. I'm the guy who helps you meet angels. That's full-on meeting, hearing, seeing, feeling. Get any answer to any question. I have a cat popping around my screen here. Get any answer to any question in any language, any level of detail. So if you're a scientist, get your scientific questions answered. You're a business person, get your business questions answered. You're just a regular Joe or Sarah, and you want to get health questions or relationship questions answered. You can do it. It's just like normal listening with the folks that you would like to listen to on this planet. But now imagine being able to get a vacation tip or any sort of tip. Where to go for a cup of coffee, where to go have lunch, where to go enjoy dinner, what to do next. It's help with your decision making. How is any of this possible? The universe. It's bigger than anybody realizes on this planet. Clearly, all the organizations out there doing their big contests, doing their big quests, doing their scientific research, they're still dealing in the realm of limits. We're talking no limits. You knew this as a kid. There's a lot of folks who are pretty enthusiastic and happy and successful, I bet, running around here, and they recognize no limits. The only time you run into limits is the thinking part up here, conditional love. It's what you know. And you know that what you know, if you compare it to 7 billion other people, it doesn't always jibe. They sometimes cancel out. You like blue, someone else likes red, arguments ensue. There's always something just beyond what we know, and that's what we're talking about. This is the universe, full on, unconditional love, and if love is the fabric of the universe, I would suggest that, then this is the universe offering a helping hand. So, do you know how to listen? Can you use a pen and write down your answers? That's the foundation for this experience, but you get a lot more. You ask for a hug, you get a hug. And the hugs can be 1 million different ways, and the hugs can become healing. Colorblind folks have seen colors. This is a full-on direct experience. I'd love to say you kick me out of the way, and boy, would that be so much easier. I'm just kind of connected to you. I tell you dad jokes. I kind of sense, too, where you're putting your walls. And that's something we're all building all the time whenever thinking is going on. Whatever you want to call it. Ego, which is just our attempt to grasp what's going on in us, around us all the time. We slap labels on it. We love to judge other people. We judge ourselves. What most folks don't realize is that it's a neutral to a negative experience in terms of energy you're generating for yourself. And, the so-so news is, look, thinking's not going to go away for humans anytime soon. It's not in the cards. So we're just talking a few hours a week of lightening up, literally, figuratively, metaphorically, letting go of what you know long enough to maybe just take a breath, smile. If you can do that, you can do anything else. The degree of difficulty for full-on seeing Audrey Hepburn, an angel, or meeting Mary, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Einstein, Plato, Marcus Aurelius, Sylvia Brown, Mother Teresa, is the same level of difficulty, if you ask me. Brushing your teeth, flipping a light switch, going to bed at night, riding a bike, yoga, anything you're passionate about. You're not critiquing how you brushed your teeth from 2 Tuesdays ago. You're still not worrying about it. Did you get your left molar? You trust that you just know how to do it, and that's what this is about. Yeah, there's a little bit of a question mark. It can feel like you're jumping off a cliff into some water down below. You're holding onto a tree, you don't want to let go. I'm going to argue that the leap is about 1 millimeter or 1 inch. And it's really a leap this distance from here to here. Call it what you will. It could be a leap of faith, religious, non-religious. Letting go is letting go. And so guess what? You're letting go to enjoy your day. You're letting go to drive to work. You're letting go to take a hot shower and enjoy it. You're letting go to take a chance on the next round of exercise. I'm going to argue that when you let go, you're doing compassion. You're kind of connecting to everything. You're getting a break from the rat race, which is actually thinking itself. So this is that chance to step out of what you know, engage the universe, or let the universe engage you. You have no privacy. They know exactly where you sort of sit on things. You're not getting judged. This is truly just love. No interference. You have to want to do this. And it's maybe a little bit ahead of its time. It's definitely kind of the next thing after the 70s, the 80s, the 1990s, 2000s, and so on with the whole new age, spiritual, woo-woo-woo stuff. Now, there isn't a person out there that's not going to point the finger at me and say, I'm not woo-woo-woo. I'm saying you can meet, 100, probably closer to 130 angels. You can meet your guardian angel, passed over loved ones. If there's some way you can grasp this, and it's awfully hard to, but it's super easy to do, this is the veil getting pulled back, and you get a direct experience. So I wouldn't know how else to phrase this except picture your favorite family members, professors, colleagues that are all positive, super knowledgeable, great sense of humor as well. Good luck finding more than a few of those. And you get to sit with them and ask anything you will, get answers. And every once in a while I come across somebody who's like, oh, I don't have any questions. And that's fine. You can be like, hey, what are the top 10 questions I need to ask? Ask them and get your answers. There's always more room for learning, expansion, growth, whatever you want to call it, personal growth, life growth. There are life stages. You're in one right now. It can be 2 years, 2 months, 2 days. It's, the degree of openness and living that you're doing. I can tell you when you're up here, we're not doing a lot of living. That's kind of like dental floss right out of Christmas Carol with the Scrooge. You're tight, and we all do it. I think just as much as the next person. But when you can let go, amazing stuff happens. And you know this from all your athletic experiences, from your relationship experiences. You also know all about tightening up and getting here. You know the pattern of tightening up, even if you don't recognize it right away. There's very few people who would lose a job and say, oh, this is my opportunity for growth. No one does that. Everyone starts off with my problem is, I don't have a job. Or they're jerks, they fired me. Or they pick up the phone and they call everybody they know to say, I'm out of a job, I can't believe my company of 20 years, let me go. My point here is everything going on around you and within is an opportunity. It's slowing down enough to appreciate the how. We'll call this allowing or appreciating or just being in the moment. Shakespeare, to be or not to be? That is the question. And there's a lot of experts over the years. Joseph Campbell, the gentleman, the mythology professor, Sarah Lawrence, Einstein himself, Marcus Aurelius, philosophers, spiritual folks, Seth from Jane Roberts, the 1970s. You can meet him, a light being. Now, I was a little hesitant on light beings, but fairies exist. There's a jinn who represents East Asian mysticism. You can meet your passed over family members as well. Plenty of folks have done that, but you got to own the angel part first. So let me back up and just explain a little bit of structure. I've been doing this for 10 or so years, a few thousand folks. There's some really notable folks who have done this, whether they've given testimonials or not. It can be really scary just to show up for a cup of coffee with me. That was a kitten shaking the table. Someone's going to see her soon. It can be scary just to show up because what I'm suggesting sort of short circuits what mankind knows right now. You could talk Omega Institute, Kripalu, Esalen, a university professor in anthropology, or astrophysicist. This is challenging every one of those circles. There's group thinking and structure and what we already know that's, quote, concrete. But as you know, science is changing all the time. We're changing all the time. This is sort of that next thing. Picture if you want to say it's trans-dimensional channeling, so you get a multi-dimensional experience, fine. If you want to talk about as a personal thing in your energy, if you want to talk about activating the rainbow light body, let's go all new age. Sure, why not? I'm just going to call it a little more happiness, a little more spark. You can meet Audrey Hepburn, the actress. She's phenomenal, pun intended. Wonderful. When you see her unfold her wings, you can see full on, if you're scared at all, it's 20 houses away. If you're comfortable, 5 houses away. If you're super comfortable, 10 feet away. Full on with or without wings. And it's just a beautiful, almost tear-evoking experience. You feel it. It's a Disney movie experience. I love Disney. You can see fireworks, daytime, nighttime, indoors, outdoors. You see angels that way as well in light energy form. They know where you're at. They're not here to freak you out. You get everything just the way you need it. So I have photos of angels, 10,000 photos probably. The photos can change colors in a static photo. I've got a silhouette of an angel. Go to my website, www.michaelandreford.com. So Michael, M-I-C-H-A-E-L, Andre like the champagne, Ford like the trucker car. michaelandreford.com. There's even a pop-up window that you can shut within a few seconds. That's Joy, the very first angel almost everybody meets. She's the emotion Joy, very big, the ambassador, communicator, high peppy voice. She's Joy. She helps you help yourself to let go, get out of your own way. You're literally just getting out of what you know to get to the big heart of yours. Allowing. This is about raising your awareness. Now, everything ebbs and flows any given day, any given moment, any given year. We tend to get into a lot of thinking ruts too. What we know can feel pretty heavy at times. You go through a divorce, you just have a lot of folks around you that are not that happy. You pick up some of that energy. In a way, thinking can be like a gutter on the side of the road. You've got to be able to get your head out of the gutter, literally. Pick that head up, keep your chin up, and understand that you can't control every single thing. But you can certainly get all your answers for anything. For life, again, career, health, you name it. You just have to have the guts to ask, and more importantly, you have to have the guts to listen and to be able to operate one of these. I think the record set by an Australian, 48 pages in 9 hours. She got an awful lot of answers. I'm going to argue that one hug is worth 100 questions. It feels good. You learn to do this on your own. You don't need me again. Again, the whole concept of this can be off-putting for some. I ran into a gentleman in England who was a big thinker, and he's well-known and everything else, but I mean, I got pressed hard I had to explain everything. I had to try to explain the basics, and I couldn't answer fast enough, and he hung up on me. And that's my lesson. Everyone's somewhere on the curve in life. You could be the biggest super genius in terms of scientific formulas and what you do and career-wise and have 100 books out and make $100 million a minute, but you might not have the awareness or the consciousness level to allow for any of this, and that's fine. You might have to go through like maybe a car wreck, or it doesn't have to be that drastic, that you suddenly, the door just gets opened a little. It's like Scrooge in Christmas Carol. He certainly knew his stuff when it came to money at the beginning, and by the end of the book, again, the biggest joy giver, still a good businessman at the end, but I'd argue a lot of that only happened in a minute and a half of dream time, and the universe kind of took care of things there. Angels are unconditional beings, love, beyond human thinking, no limits. They're still learning. They're within us, they're around us, they're all shapes, sizes, colors. Again, I got lucky with the camera, so that's a great way to start off. But I can end up showing you an angel in your hand. It can go through 2 screens. You can see full on, with or without wings. You can have a couple angels there and have your family member come through. Now, I get asked all the time, how do you know if this is real, or how do you know what's up or down, or how do you know any of this? And I would just say, how do you know a good cup of coffee? How do you know anything yourself? How do you know you're even driving to work the right way? You've got a navigation system. You've been doing it since you're little. You'll figure it out. Everyone's pretty quick to the take. If I took a random Joe or Sarah off the street, they'd do fantastic. If I took some of the big heavy hitters, a celeb, or somebody that we all look up to on the spiritual wellness, holistic, playing fields, it's not even guaranteed they could show up. And that's not an indictment. It's just, this is a scary concept again, and it's not scary at all. This is actual angels. As much proof, people can do this in a group. They can group see and hear. I kind of insist they need to own it individually, but like if it's a husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, 2 sisters, you end up having a ton of fun. You can also see energy. So I always start off with helping people see auras. There was the Celestine Prophecy movie where they do it like this, and in India they do it like this, where you see auras on your hand. It's the Force from Star Wars. There's a lot of ways to explain it. But you can see energy everywhere. You can see an aura on me right now if you want. Just look at my face, tune out a little bit like I'm a really boring professor, a really interesting professor, and you can start to see energy all over me. It'll be a faint white or clear bit of energy, but the more you kind of yawn and let go, I'm trying to be really boring right now, the more it'll expand, and you might even catch a few colors. You could see angels right now if you wanted to. Little balls of light can show up, but what I'm going to suggest is why don't you set your intent to allow for that? And it really is the only structure that I offer, and that is simply set your intent. Go to your heart, and whichever way is the appropriate way for you. If you're highly religious, not religious, atheist, it's all good. just say to the universe, use the word universe, and if you don't mind me saying angels exist, let's use that as well. Universe, angels, help me get out of the brain, into my heart, make it nice. Amen, rock and roll, thank you. However you feel like you're tapping your inner, fearless, peaceful, Buddhist-like, monk-like warrior self, athletic self, whichever way you want to draw the metaphor here. So silently do it. Don't do this out loud. You'll get caught at the supermarket one day and everyone's going to look at you and wonder why you're looking around above the cucumbers seeing angels. So you're going to see them in energy light form if you want. See a few balls of light, a streak. A fairy can make a firefly any color you want. If you pick gold, ask for a gold firefly. Got photos of fairies. It's not just balls of light. I had Simon & Schuster 9 years ago say, we love angels. And then they looked at the photos and were like, oh, orbs. No. All different shapes in the photos. Photos will move. Historical photos will move. You can meet figures from India. Sai Baba, Sri Kaleshwar, Vishnu, Krishna, Ganesh, Lakshmi, Mera Baba, Gandhi, if I didn't say Gandhi. You meet Native American chiefs, and this is fun. Don't Life Richard Geronimo have been with me since 1970. My dad was Navy, Black Aces, fighter pilot type, died June 1970 when I was 2. Put into Arlington in 1998. It was his time to go. He knew he was going to go early, a tall fellow, 6'1"ish. My mom passed when I was probably 22, turning 23. It was her time to go as well. Hundreds of people have met them. In their 20s is how they come across. They're super awesome. They're not angels, spirit guides, if you want to call it, reconciled, unconditional love, just helpful. My mom's petite, 5'4", freckles, was an artist, is an artist, however you want to look at it. It's sort of like athletics or going to your first big job and you're worried about it all, or playing fantasy football for the first time. And you probably got creamed for the first 5 years playing fantasy football. It can take a long time to absorb the right habits and the wrong habits, or it's like life. There are certain things that people take to, like a dog to water. There are certain things that we just can't grasp. And that was, for me, angels. I spent 2 years trying to grasp angels. I got this far. Here's my conclusion on a bunch of things. Helping 2,000 people out, having seen tens of thousands of answers. And I normally don't see answers. I don't have to see answers. I used to go over the answers with folks. Today, I just say to somebody, if they've got like 5 pages of answers, I'm like, hey, do you want to volunteer 1 or 2 sample answers that you would share at a cocktail party? But there's a lot of wisdom and it's pretty amazing. I've learned the following. Where you put your focus is where you put your focus. The universe will always help you out if you just ask for it. You're always getting what you need and you're always good right where you are. Now think of all the complex people, all the ideologies out there and everything else. And by the way, angels exist. Trust that this is so, and everything else will follow. So you have to make the invitation. You're getting unconditional love all the time, but no one's here to force anything on you. If you absolutely categorically don't believe angels can exist, you have not made it this far. There's no way you can even stand me. So stick around if you want, but this isn't about changing anybody's how they roll. This is about accentuating, augmenting, offering a little extra help, hitting a button, how to be happier in the moment, how to let go, how to be one with the universe, one with the baseball bat if you're a professional or would-be professional baseball player, athletic person of any sort. You can't get in a slump for very long. You just have to be able to spot where you're at and say, I'm not comfortable with this. It's a little bit like Esther Hicks, that whole Abraham thing. You get to pivot. You get to pivot very fast too. And it's not accepting all your thinking as absolute concrete fact. What you know is rarely going to last 20 years, or rarely going to make you happy, or rarely going to achieve anything you think you want to achieve. Hi there, Michael André Ford in San Antonio, Texas, part 2. Got to merge these clips together. Just did a 15-minute segment, adding a little more here. So back to what I've learned in maybe 10 years of doing this, a couple thousand folks. And here it is again. Where you put your focus is where you put your focus. I know that sounds redundant. You can't argue with it. It's safe. But literally, we're sort of a ball of energy, and we don't always realize how we're rolling with our energy. Now, that doesn't mean there aren't consequences for how you spend your energy, or just, if you want to keep it kind of scientific, cause and effect and stuff like that. But subconsciously, we're doing a lot more than we realize. And it's a function of your awareness. I'm going to leave it at that. You roll with your energy, how you're going to roll. Thinking's not going away, but thinking generally, it can be neutral. It can be couple percentage points into negativity. It can be full on negativity when you're judging other people, when you're precluding possibility, and so on. And that kind of goes full circle. It's the Wayne Dyer quote. When you think you're judging other people, you're actually impacting yourself. And I love Mother Teresa's quotes, like, when you judge someone, you have no time to love them. Now, it can sound kind of hokey to suggest that kindness, love, compassion is what it's all about. But again, love is the fabric of the universe. The more you realize just to slow your roll a little bit, get out of the rat race, which is up here. It's why you're not happy. You can't be happy really when you're up here. It's not, happiness is obtained in the absence of ego. And I'm going to do a quick tangent. If you go to my Facebook page, there's a couple of them, the business one, the personal one. If you go to the Twitter account, all this stuff is listed on my website, www.michaelandreford.com. You can find some great quotes from angels, Mother Teresa, that people have donated back or I've heard over time, and so on. Again, this is about meeting figures that are not, might have been human once or done a stint as a human. They're just here to help. And that means technically no interference. You're here for, we'll call it Earth School. I do like that expression that I've seen out there. And you're here to learn something, do something, have a good time. But things can get pretty complex pretty quick on a lot of fronts. We all do a lot of thinking. We all get into situations. We also cannot be quick to the take on addressing those situations. It's easy to get out of balance, and then health issues kick in. A lot of this can ripple in all directions, and it's really easy given all the ideology, politics, the news stuff today. I used to be a public relations guy for 18 years. So thankful I've moved on from that and not dealing with the press at all. But my point in this is there's a lot floating around if you watch TV that can get you stressed out. And I think one of the ways to perhaps take some of the steam out of the kettle here is just everyone's doing the best they can. Now, that might not be the right phraseology for you, but think about it another way. Everyone has a certain consciousness level, and you're somewhere on the curve. No one's perfect. There are a few people walking around enlightened, and to me, a couple of those folks in the past that I've met, it feels like you're sitting with a high school principal and you're in trouble somehow. To me, higher energy, a lightness, a sparkle, a twinkle in the eye, humor, helping other people out, showing this much kindness, a wave, taking a breath. That's what it's all about. I think absolutely, Americans this day and age, the short-term gratification thing, we want our answers. So it's awfully hard to allow for the concept that in this moment is the entry point to everything. Getting your answers, getting your hugs, getting healing, more happiness, more bonding with everything in you and around you. And I know, like Dan Millman, Way of the Peaceful Warrior the movie, check all those out. Great material. Touches Zen in it. Pretty safe. A lot of entertainment. Amy Smart's in the movie, Nick Nolte, Scott Micklowitz, fantastic actors. Dan's really got a fantastic background, very safe author. If you need help with your thinking, showing that it's not always the way you think it is, Byron Katie's fantastic. Eckhart Tolle, two edges to him. First, fantastic across the board. Great presence. He still's human, ebbs and flows like the rest of folks, but if in any way you're having trouble sleeping and you're not totally into all the material, reading a book, you read his stuff and your thinking kicks in, it'll react. You will fall asleep with one page of reading of his stuff. Meanwhile, his stuff, there's a reason why it's best-selling books galore. Gary Zukav has Seed of the Soul. I know he's got a new book out. I haven't read that one yet. Don Miguel Ruiz is fantastic. But I want you to think about all the experts that have come along. Jane Robertson's Seth from the 70s. I forget the exact name of the book, Nature of Reality, something like that. You can meet Seth. And when you do meet him, he's the same voice, but just even a little bit more clear, a little more direct, and just as satisfying. How about that? So all these folks, Tony Robbins, self-help experts, the business experts that are trying to help you achieve stuff in the business world. But it's really, everyone's trying to get you out of here to get you to here. Could be a coach, marriage coach, relationship coach. It could be an athletic consultant for a team or for an individual athletic player, sports coach. They're all trying to get you better performance. And I help deliver the goods in that sense. You can have absolutely any answer to any question. You have to be willing to go full stop and go here, and again, work the pen and get your answers. You don't have to use a pen and paper. I always try to wipe out all the structure that I teach so that you can do it without any photographs. You can do it without photographs and sort of talk to the thin air. In case you were in a canoe stuck on a river, you need to know which bank to paddle to quickly. You learn just to do it like this. Or you're driving along and you want to know where to go for a safe or good cup of coffee. Ask Geronimo. And the Native American chiefs are Geronimo, Dull Knife, Red Shirt, Crazy Horse, Red Cloud, Chief Joseph, Black Elk, White Buffalo, Calf Woman as well. My dad passed away in 1970. I started to tell that story. And a woman brought 3 pictures, drawings, over to my mom. Turns out that they were for protection. They've hung over my bed since I was a kid, not as an adult. They're in my office now. But it was Dull Knife, Red Shirt, Geronimo. And back when I tried to play a direct psychic, I'm say a little psychic. I try not to tell anybody anything now. What would be the point? I'm taking away from your opportunity to ride the bike. And if the bike's the metaphor here, it's your first time riding the bike. Or if you're a seasoned intuitive pro for 30 years, you're still getting more expansion, expanding your skill set, growing somehow. And that's really between you and the universe and angels and so on. You can always be shown more skills. A lot of folks that I've come across like to kind of see with their eyes shut. I help you see full on, and I hopefully to get you comfortable with that. So whether you're seeing a ball of light, whether you're seeing 100 yards away, 10 yards away, you're getting it done. I guess the real elephant in the room is what's going on up here, and this is the one place we're all fearful to go to. Dan Millman has some really great quotes. If you go to Goodreads, what a great way to go. I want you to buy their books. I want you to patronize them, if I said that right. I want you to give them your business. They've got great teachings and everything else. But this is also another point. Go to Goodreads, check out the quotes from those books. That'll help get you fired up to perhaps purchase the book. But think of the landscape and all these authors. They're all offering something and they're getting you only so far. This is different. You're getting an actual chance to meet beings of unconditional love, nature, the universe, directly. You can even do the Neil Donald Walsh thing. If you've owned the angel part, maybe a relative or two, you can hear God. I describe it as every voice at once speaking. There's Abe, the old Abraham, not Esther Hicks stuff, but an angel named Abe, who's the Abraham, who's on everyone's team, a fatherly energy, looks like Dumbledore, Gandalf, kind of between the two. You can meet your guardian angel, your kids' guardian angels. If your kids are about to turn into teenagers, it's probably a great thing to meet their guardian angels. What a great way to grab a phrase where 1 + 1 = 11. You're trying to communicate to that teenager. It can be awfully hard to penetrate. You're trying to do it above board in a positive way, but you're not going to be received very well. Angels are fantastic for bridging the gap on communication. You can get anything you need. We're not used to walking around and having no limits. Instead, it's the exact opposite. My problem is that person's a jerk. I disagree with so on. They're wrong. If you want to go big picture, maybe there's no right or wrong. There's proper understanding. I'm borrowing from an angel. Anything that I say that's smart, wise, it's probably an angel who said it. You can meet Chogyam Trungpa, Buddha, Kuan Yin. If you like the Asian Zen Buddhist thing. But let's go back to another big picture thing. Do Buddhists really want to meet Buddha? I don't know. I'm sure I'll be surprised next week. I've had 2 people who studied under Chogyam Trungpa in the 70s who got to meet him. And I had one Indian journalist as well on the television side who had met him but not studied under him, who also got to meet him, and Mother Teresa. And he had met Mother Teresa, I think, as a kid. So this is just a lot to take in. I'm sure Native American tribes, indigenous tribes, are doing this directly somehow, but let's go to a different group. Catholics, Protestants, do they really want to meet, for some, Mary isn't even a real character, but or a big character, but Jesus, Michael, Gabriel are big for those groups. My point is, there's a lot of ritual, if that's okay to say, a lot of knowledge, a lot of doing, not necessarily a ton of allowing for the next big phase. Let's switch this around. Mankind could use a little more kindness, compassion, a little less rat race, a little more slowing down, a much more greater level of awareness. People like to use the excuse of the rat race and business or just being busy as a reason not to expand their awareness. We've probably had other societies way in the past that were very keen on awareness and valued it. It might not be the case today. We could all use just at least a breath, and I think for a lot of folks, that's their sense of slowing down would be taking a single breath. And the brain will tell you that taking a single breath is done and you never took it. So smiling, slowing down, allowing, that's where I'm coming from on this, and then angels do the rest. So you get your answers, you get your hugs, you have a direct experience, and you also, this isn't something that just goes away. You're not dependent on me. Now, I have a little $4.99 book called Listening to Angels at Amazon, written by angels. If you think I wrote it, thank you so much. But there's no way I wrote that thing. And I even look back at it now, and I'm like, how did I write that? It's very gentle. The language, again, that I use is unconditional love, kindness, compassion, the universe. And if I've dinged anybody, my apologies out there, but there's a lot of thinking going on. There's tons of experts. I'm putting myself out there as an expert, but I'll be the first one to say, you can already do it all. You have it right here. And I'm basically just pulling back the veil for you and helping you dust off your own intuitive skill set. You've been using it all your life. When you go to walk in a room and it's dark and you go to flip the light switch, you just know where the light switch is. You don't analyze, are you going to hit it really hard, really slow? After the fact, and you put the lights on, are you still an hour later wondering, did you do it with the right technique? No. But pick anything else that you attach a lot of importance to. A business thing, a relationship thing, calling someone, the right time to call about a date. You freak out. So this is something that you've already got full command and control over if you would just allow for it. And really the bigger issues, it points out what's going on up here. That we're almost in a different reality, or in our storied reality, our narrative, our life story that we tell everyone else, we tell ourselves, that's already changed, and that we're not allowing for more love, kindness, compassion. We're holding on to different consciousness levels that actually prevent our growth and don't let us have more fun, be more at peace, experience inner harmony, and instead we're living with vibration of fear, a little bit lower down, not fun. And that's just thinking. That's thinking, it's our ego trying to protect us. Ego's not going away, but you can meet it, you can tame it, you can start to recognize it more, and you can learn to take a step back, take a breath. Again, that's where so many of these fantastic experts, Esther Hicks, Byron Katie, Don Miguel Ruiz, they're all trying to help you be more conscious of what's going on with these dynamics. A lot of the Super Soul Sunday authors and everything else. But again, this is where we've taken a leap. You can actually meet light beings, angels, a jinn who's East Asian mysticism, who's been around forever, fairies. You can meet your kids' guardian angels, your guardian angel, your relatives, passed over pets. Tyler Henry, the Hollywood medium, can only help one or a few folks at a time. If it's his audience, he's helping folks again. And he's so wonderful. If you haven't checked him out, he's a lot of fun. But this is about you kind of sparking up and doing it all as well. You've got as much skill as anybody out there that you're admiring. And I guess that's what I'm here to wind up with, and that perspective is not limiting. Perspective can change everything. So just take this all with a grain of salt, but don't dismiss it. There's photos of angels. All languages are spoken. You're from that one little province of India that has a dialect that nobody else speaks. You get it. You get your answers that way. You need it in Spanish, Russian, name the language. You can go beyond words. You can see consciousness itself flowing. So while it's nice to talk about auras and stuff, you can actually see consciousness, light waves of energy, and receive healing that way too. How about that? The two screens, if I'm talking to somebody on a Zoom call, there's no barrier. You can smell sage if I'm blowing it through. You can ask an angel to bring you your favorite beach from anywhere in the world. Hawaii is a very popular option. You can close your eyes and visit India and sit with the masters. I love that expression. You can sit with really big name folks who are just there to help. But it doesn't have to be completely the India theme. Your relatives can show up and be part of the crowd. Angels, Native American chiefs. Same thing if you go to sit with Native American chiefs, you might have some Indian figures come in and so on. Same thing with Tibet. a lot can happen with your eyes closed. There could be a healing ceremony. You can get your answers. You can have a university class. You can go to the Middle East and sit. My website has a long list of the figures that people meet. You simply have to be able to show up. And that can be tough for anybody. You could have a hard time on a paid session showing up. You could have a hard time just having a cup of coffee with me. I'm probably making this video just to show that I don't bite. And I do tell a lot of dad jokes. I think humor is very important. I think not taking ourselves too seriously, not taking others too seriously. I think recognizing that the real opportunity here is love. Love is all there is. Let's go to that. Sharing love whenever you can remember to remember, if you can remember to remember, is probably the biggest key here. If you want to just call it kindness or compassion, fine. But it's really your flow. What can you allow yourself to experience? And how can you avoid being shut tight like a clam or an oyster for too long in life? The universe is ready to deliver on so many fronts. All you have to do is ask. And even if you're not going to go get the $5 book at Amazon, there's a link on my website for that. You could just go blind with the request. Be like, hey, universe, help me lighten up a little bit. Help me have a more fun month on the work front personally. Help me grow. Help me walk a smoother path and see what happens. I've seen angels in human form, so have other folks now. Full-on human form. Hard to explain. Lots of fun there. I don't think 1,000 of my war stories or details, 2,000 of my details is going to help anybody accept their own situation or that tiny little leap of faith for here, to let go and give the service a chance. But you never know. So maybe I'll share more personal details down the road. If you check out some of the podcasts that I've done, I think I have shared a few stories in there, so check it out. Again, I have a few sample photos on the website, maybe on my Twitter account if you poke around, definitely on Facebook. There's 50 plus testimonials. I've got a testimonial from an Esalen person. These are people who've either worked there, did work there when they did the service. They might have moved on. Omega Institute, UC San Diego, an institute down there as well, a former Miss USA, doctors, nurses, some veterinarians, an Airbnb executive, a Hollywood film director who did Eckhart Tolle's school bullying movie, Milton's Secret, with Donald Sutherland and I think it's Mia Kirshner, Canadian production. So a lot of folks have done this, and a lot of folks who then after the fact are like, hey, I can't give you a testimonial. People will just find you. It's amazing what I've witnessed in doing this. I just help a person, again, let go long enough to get an amazing experience. I open the door for the person. I'm a guide. But I think I like to say, I just like to bring a little joy, humor, and show how easy it all is. Again, thinking can come right back in and say, no, everything has to be complex. But the currency is really love. It's not the judging, the hatred, the dismissing, the rejecting, the reacting that you see that is so prevalent today. Mankind has a lot of room for growth there, so therefore, lots of opportunity. Therefore, I've got tons of opportunity for future business, and so do you. Thank you very much. I hope you all have a wonderful fall. And be safe. Be sure, again, to check out www.michaelandreford.com. Check out the various podcasts I've been on, I think 3 or 4 in the last 6 weeks. There's a chance I'm on a New Mexico radio show, kind of like a public radio thing. Senators have been on it, some congressmen, some authors, not New Age, the self-help, woo-woo-woo spiritual authors as well. I'll put that up as soon as that gets firmed up a little bit more. And that's it. If you need to, grab 5 of your friends, come tiptoeing in as a group. There's safety going into the water as a group. How about that? Okay, thank you very much. Have a great one. Enjoy the rest of 2021. Be safe, but have fun. And allow for angels to exist before bed at night. Why not say, hey, angels, help me experience a smoother path ahead. You're going to sleep on that for anywhere from 5 to 8 hours. Why not take advantage of that downtime and make whatever requests? If you need a little help letting go, give thanks for something. It just shows that you're not holding on to the stress of the day. I have a great pillow. I have a great dog, a great wife, great husband, great vacation coming up in a week. I'm looking forward to this. That helps level the playing field. And then make your request to the universe if you need a safe way to put it. But I'm kind of an angel guy. I'd say make the request directly to angels. Be like, angels, Help me out on this front. You don't have to do any listening. You don't have to do any feeling. You don't have to do any seeing. Just ask for it. Trust, though, the universe, angels heard you. How about that for a middle ground? Thank you again. It's Michael André Ford in San Antonio. I hope you have a great, again, rest of 2021. Take care.